everyone, and welcome to another session of Lunch and Learn. It is with distinguished pleasure that I invite to the virtual lecture distinguished Toastmaster Karen Thomas, our Program Quality Director, to proceed with the rest of the DTM Karen, the virtual museums.
Thank you so much, Division E Director. Fellow Toastmasters, thank you so much for joining us this morning or afternoon, depending on where you are, to get some more tips on speech contests. We're deep into contest season, and we want to ensure that you, as a contestant, as a functionary, are on top of things, doing the best you can. And we've seen a few things that need to tweak. So for the next hour, distinguished Toastmaster Nehru and myself, we're going to look at speech contests from the functionaries' side and the contestants. I'm going to give you a little overview, and then we're going to hone in on some particular do's and don'ts. And of course, there are several experts here who we shall be happy if they want to share what we have to say and give us the benefit of their expertise. I saw distinguished Toastmaster Carol Riley come in, and she, of course, is a past district champion, just to name a few. So let us move on swiftly. And I hope by now you're seeing my screen.
Not yet, it's coming up. Yep, we're good to go.
Okay. On the button. Whoopsie. So briefly, as I said, our objectives are going to be to highlight the types of contests, let us understand the roles, what are the eligibility requirements, because that can be a challenge, and then we're going to give some tips. And Toastmasters says there are three purposes for speech contests: to provide an opportunity to practice competitive speaking, to provide interesting educational programs for members and the public, and to provide an opportunity to learn by observing proficient speakers. I should also add, to have fun and grow while we're doing it, because everything that we're doing is a learning experience and we can have fun. In District 81 this year, we have four types of contests. The online speech contest, which, as the name suggests, is strictly online. The evaluation contest, international speech contest, and the table topics contest. The last three are face-to-face. Now, let me back up just to say that clubs, although clubs should have finished their contest by now, clubs have the autonomy for the contest, apart from the online speech contest, to have their contest, whether online or hybrid. From the area onwards, there is no such autonomy or leeway. So the evaluation, the international speech, and the table topics contests at the area, the division, and the district level must be in person. Must be in person. It can be live streamed for persons who cannot attend physically, but no contest can participate remotely. On the other hand, the online speech contest cannot have anyone not being remote. So let us look a little deeper. So as I said, the online speech contest, 5 to 7 minute speech on any topic. And as normal, it must have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, and it must be conducted online. The evaluation contest, and please note the names that I'm giving. The rule book doesn't say evaluation speech contest. It doesn't say table topic speech contest. So the evaluation contest is a 2 to 3 minutes evaluation of a test speech. So contestants, if you came and you decided that you are going to evaluate a contestant in one of the other contests, you will be disqualified. It must be the test speech. Your evaluation should have the elements of an evaluation. It must be well organized. You will not get the objectives of the speech, nor the level that the speaker is at, and not the time. But of course, if you're paying attention, you would have an idea of how much time the speaker took. But do not ask the time when you come for the time, because you won't get it. The international speech contest should be an inspirational or motivational type speech. Again, it's 5 to 7 minutes, must be properly organized. It is recommended that it has a message. The table topics is a 1 to 2 minute table topic. All contestants get the same topic. And it's a mini speech you're doing, so it should be well organized with an opening, a body, and a conclusion. There are some, of course, other requirements that you would get at the speech, at the briefing, such as how much of your speech can be original, how much should be original, which is 20%. Sorry, let me stop. Let me spin that around. No more than 20% of the of the speech should be quoted or unoriginal material. The bulk of the speech must be your speech. And of course, if you're referencing someone's work, you need to give them the credit. Let's look at eligibility. A contestant must be a member in good standing. That means your dues are paid up. Of a club in good standing. That means that minimum of 8 members of the club are paid up. That is the standard to be in good standing. And that must stay through all levels of the contest that you are participating in. So the club, the area, the division, and the district, if you are so fortunate to go that far. In addition, if you're a contestant in the international speech contest, you must also have completed at least levels 1 and 2 in pathways. The only exception to that is if you're a distinguished Toastmaster under the Legacy program, or if your club was chartered less than a year before the contest. So we have a few clubs that were chartered since this year, this Toastmasters year started. If any of those members chose to compete, they would not need to make the speech require the level 1 and 2 pathways requirement. So we spoke about the contestants, who are the main persons. Some other roles are the contest chair or the contest Toastmaster, the chief judge, the voting judge, tie-breaking judge, timers, ballot counters, and the test speaker. The contest chair has a responsibility for planning and execution of the contest. The contest chair should appoint the chief judge, ensure the eligibility of the contestants, briefs the contestants before the contest, appoints the contest sergeant at arms, ensures certificates and trophies are in place, prepares the agenda, conducts the contest, announces the results. Now, of course, at certain levels other persons come into play. At the club level, the vice president education also has a responsibility to play. So if you're the vice president education, unless you're a contestant, you cannot abdicate your role just because you've appointed a contestant. You still need to have a watching brief and ensure that these things are done in accordance with the rule book. At the area level, the buck stops with the area director. Division contest, the division director. At the district level, the program quality director is tasked by the district director to ensure that all of these things are in place. As a vice president education, area director, or the other roles, you have an eligibility tool in Club Central or District Central that helps you to track members' eligibility, a contestant's eligibility. However, that will only help you with payment. It's not going to help you with the meeting the room of pathways. So you also need to do some homework and ensure that you know what's happening. Chief Judge, you ensure that the contest is conducted in accordance with Toastmasters International standards. You're not a voting judge. You are the chief counter. You appoint voting judges, including a tiebreaker, and ensure their eligibility. And please remember that all of these, whether the contestant or the judges, there's a form that they sign. You appoint the timers and the counters, brief the functionaries before the contest, submit the results to the contest chair. Remember that. I'm coming back to it in our do's and don'ts.
Sorry, DTM Corinne?
Yes.
Just go back a slide, please.
This one? One before?
Yes, this one. Okay. I don't know if you're going to discuss it in the do's and don'ts, but can you explain the tiebreaker judge rule, please?
Soon be there. Got a slide for that.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So the voting judges should ensure that they maintain fairness and impartiality. It's the best speech that you hear in contest today. It doesn't matter how many times you've seen the speaker, what you think about the speaker, whether you like them or you can't take a bone in their body. It doesn't matter if you heard speech at other levels. It's how they are presenting the speech today. You should ensure that you have the relevant ballots and that you are aware of what the ballots say, what the criteria is. You should attend the briefing and be on time, that means early, for the contest. You should also ensure that your form is completed properly. Do not have a tie in your results. People look at me when I say that, but believe me, I emphasize that point because I have seen judges score and when they finish, they have a tie and they send it through. That makes your ballot null and void. So if when you score, you have two contestants who have the same total, you break your tie. One must be even a smidgen better than the other. You only send the results portion to the chief judge or hand to the counters, depending on if it's an online contest or if it's a face-to-face contest. It must be done discreetly because Toastmasters says that as far as is possible, judges should be anonymous. You destroy your ballot. That's the part that you did all of your working on after the contest. In my estimation, destroying the ballot means you carry it with you and destroy it elsewhere. You don't throw it in a bin somewhere on the property that somebody can see it. You never, ever, ever, ever discuss how you voted with anyone, even another judge. Now to the tiebreaker. Every contest, unless there's only one contestant, must have a tiebreaker. They again should have the relevant tiebreaker ballot. The criteria is the same as for the particular contest, but it says tiebreaker because there is a difference at the end. You are usually briefed by the chief judge separately because no one else should know who the tiebreaker is but you. You also need to be on time for the contest. Complete your ballot properly. And the difference in your ballot and the others is that where the voting judges, their ballot has 3 places, 1, 2, 3, yours can have up to 7. And if there are that many contestants or more, you need to score those 7 spaces. The results go only to the chief judge. So if it's online, you send your results to the chief judge alone. If it's face-to-face, the chief judge must come and collect your ballot. It does not go with the counters when they collect the others. You destroy your ballot again after the contest, just as I said. Functionaries. You are as important as the judges. Timers, you need to understand how to use the timing devices and the form. You need to work in sync. There are usually 2 timers for a face-to-face contest. And since the onset of the online speech contest, Toastmasters says we should have 3 because there must be an extra backup timer in case there's any challenge with technology on the part of the timers. You also need to attend the briefing. Again, your times, the contestants' times should not be discussed with anyone except the timer, your counterpart, and the chief judge, and you give your completed form only to the chief judge. Counters, you need to be familiar with the counters tally form and the ballot for the particular contest. You should ensure that you attend the briefing. You should ensure that you know who all of the judges are, and the results should not be discussed with anyone outside of the other counter and the chief judge. I'm going to give my do and don't right here, and I will repeat it later. If for any reason, when the results are announced, there is an error, as the counter, you have as much responsibility as the chief judge to ensure that the correct result is what is communicated. So if for any reason the contest chair says something wrong, maybe they read the form wrong, and because the result form can be confusing because it lists the results in reverse order, 3, 2, 1. So it's quite possible to read it incorrectly. And I'll tell you, the other day, I wrote up one and I found myself writing the results in the wrong order. Fortunately, before it got to the contest chair, I corrected myself. And the counters were there to see what I was doing. But suppose I had made that error and handed the form in that manner to the contest chair. And the contest chair announces Elizabeth Naru first, Tyreek Hoswood second, Deborah Bavagin third, and Deborah was first. It's not okay, chief judge and counters, to let that go, or any of the other orders, and wait till after the contest to announce the error. You immediately, chief judge immediately should stop the contest chair and whether you want to make the announcement or go to the contest chair and explain and have the contest chair do it. The contest must not be adjourned without that being corrected. If the chief judge doesn't do it, then counters, you have a responsibility to say to the chief judge, or if need be, if you see there's nothing happening or the chief judge isn't around, you have the permission and the authority to say something to the contest chair and stop it and have the correction done. And I'm emphasizing that because in this recent round of contests, there was a particular error that was not pointed out until the nomination form was announced. And that's when the correction was done. It was too late then because the rule book says that what is announced is final. Test speaker. Remember I said that the evaluation contest has a test speaker? That must be a 5 to 7 minute speech on any topic. It needs to be a pathway speech. The contestant should not have heard what the speech was, not have heard the speech before. And the test speaker is not known to anyone else but the contest chair until they are announced. The test speaker must be a Toastmaster in good standing. They don't have to be a member of the club, the area, the division, or the district conducting the contest. Now, of course, if at all possible, at an area contest, the contest and the division contest, if at the test speaker should not be coming from a club that is represented in the contesting bustle. The speech can be at any level and it can be done for credit because someone can be there to write that evaluation form for the contestant or the test speaker. Before I stop and we talk about some of the do's and don'ts, there are some persons who are not eligible to serve as contest chair, chief judge, or test speaker. Current district officers, and by that I mean from area director up, are not eligible. Persons who have indicated that they're candidates for voting positions for the upcoming year cannot serve in those capacities. And of course, international director candidates. The rulebook has the full list, but I wanted to single these out. So for instance, a district director candidate who has said, I am going to run for district director or any of the roles upwards, they cannot serve in these capacities. Otherwise, their candidacy would be null and void. And I'm going to stop here. We can take maybe 2 questions and then go into the do's and don'ts for the contestants, which will be delivered by Distinguished Toastmaster Elizabeth. There don't seem to be any questions right now, so Distinguished Toastmaster Elizabeth, over to you.
Thank you so much, Distinguished Toastmaster. Oh, we have a hand. Okay, great. Go ahead, Toastmaster Mikhail, and ask your question.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon. I just wanted to know if you could speak more to the eligibility for persons who are, for example, participating in district events and also the contest. Are there any restrictions there?
Okay. Distinguished Toastmaster Corin. Your mic's muted.
As it relates to contests, are you talking about contestants or other functionary roles?
So are contestants allowed to be a part of any other type of event planning or part of like the district conference in any way?
The speech contest rulebook does not say that they cannot.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, great.
Did
Thank you
that
for
answer
that.
the whole of your question? We're clear? We're
Yes, it
good?
does. Because I just wanted,
Okay.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that there was no conflict, say if you were participating in any of the activities other than the contest and you were also a contestant at the conference.
Of course, we wouldn't expect you to be like a a presenter, but if it's some of the things behind the scenes, then it would be okay.
Okay,
Yes.
understood.
I see Dee Dee's hand is raised, so let me take her and then the other hand.
Good afternoon, Toastmasters. Sorry, I'm unable to put on my camera, but just wanted to put a clarifying statement on the point being raised about contestants and officials at serving, and to note that it should be that yes, you can function and so etc., but it cannot be at the event to which the contest is being held. So, for example, at the international speech contest, you cannot be a presenter, you cannot be serving or doing anything at that particular event and be a contestant. So you cannot participate in any of those at the event at which the contest is being held.
Thank you, Dee Dee, for that clarification. Yes, I should have elaborated on that. Distinguished Toastmaster Sandra Theodore.
Hello. Thank you, Madam Program Quality Director. I have a question. The question is, could you explain what is the difference between an elected member and an appointed member? Because there is some confusion as to where, if somebody who is an appointed person wants to take part in a contest, they've been told that they cannot because but there is a difference. I just want that explained because a lot of people don't seem to understand that. And also back to the point where area director or one of those can act as a chief judge or those roles that you showed on the slide before, whether they can act as a chief judge or a contest chair, whether an area director can act in that role. So
let me take that one first. That's easy. Yes, they can. There's nothing there is nothing that prevents them from acting as contest chair or chief judge unless they have offered themselves for a role in the upcoming year. Then they've become a candidate. Now, to the first point that you made, in District 81, and it does vary from district to district, there are some positions that are elected and there are some that are appointed. In District 81, we appoint area directors. We don't vote. They don't go through the election process. Yes, the DLC interviews them, but they are not presented at the business meeting and as candidates and voted for. What is done is that after the election, there's an announcement that these people have been appointed. Similarly, there are some, so in essence, it is the division directors and the trio, and Dee Dee, please stop me if I'm not right. Those are the elected positions, because even the finance manager, the logistics manager, the administration manager, those are appointed positions. So they should be able to participate.
Right. Thank you so much for that, because there was a situation where someone was going for a position, was a candidate for position for the proceeding, the term coming up 1st July, and they were acting as chief judge, and it was questioned, and the reply we got was that they had not been elected as yet. So I just wanted, it was confusing for me, but I just wanted to have that clarified right here in this forum so people can understand. So you're going up for position
Okay.
come 1st of July as a district leader.
That
Can
word
you-
elected, that word elected is incorrect. So in other words, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but in the interest of time, the election, we're now going through, we've had the nomination process, so people have declared themselves as candidates. Then we have in the election process, and a list will be published. But there are people that we know are candidates. They cannot take those roles. It's not when they're elected. They cannot take those roles right now. I cannot be a chief judge. I cannot be a contest chair. I cannot be a test speaker. Anybody who's a candidate, and it is fine. Some people, they might not have said, I am running for X or I am running for Y. But let's talk about integrity. Or let's not have to talk about integrity. You know that you've offered yourself for that. So follow the rule book. I hope that covered what?
Thank you
all
so
of the
much.
concerns.
That
You're
was
so
my
welcome.
estimation. Thank you so much. I
Yes.
just wanted to make it clear in this forum so others can,
Yes.
appreciate. Thank you.
Okay. You're so welcome. I see 2 hands raised, but I really do want to deal with the do's and don'ts for the contestants, and then we will come back to take any other questions if time permits. So, distinguished Toastmaster Liz, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Otto and Toastmaster Kevin. Keep your questions. We're definitely will come back to them. I will be as brief as possible with regards to the do's and don'ts. The first one is that you want to prepare. And this list comes from our distinguished Toastmaster, Carol Riley. Prepare, prepare, prepare. We have seen cases where contestants have entered contest and it's like they're thrown in the deep end. So you want to prepare your persons entering the contest from as early as possible in the Toastmasters year so that they have enough time to practice and also to be comfortable in whatever format they are presenting on, whether it's online or it is face-to-face, particularly the face-to-face, because a lot of our clubs either meet a hybrid or they meet online. And so because of that, some persons are not familiar with the speaking space. So we encourage you to, as VP Eds and area directors, just help our members to become prepared when they enter the contest. Because we want the experience to be a rewarding ones, because it is really a rewarding experience. So we want to help them to prepare. For the contestants, we're going to ask you to not study the speech like a poem. Be very comfortable when you are delivering your speech, just like you would in your club. Be very conversational. Share your personal experiences. And in fact, one of the don'ts, and you can do your speeches according to how you're feeling comfortable. But I've seen persons deliver speeches, for example, For an international level speech, they'd probably do a research paper. But an international speech is supposed to be very inspiring, right? So again, you want to look at the criteria for an international speech, and also to help goes back to preparation. What the VP Eds can do is to share videos of winners of international speech contests. In our club as well, we do what we call dress rehearsals or rehearsals before the contest. So an experienced Toastmaster can provide guidance to the contestants before their speeches are delivered. And they would coach them, for example, on the use of hand movements, the body language, facial expressions, eye contact, and engaging the audience, and also, most important, using the speaking space. So those are ways that we can help. Rehearse, that's very important. So rehearse as often as you can, and do that in front of your club members, in front of family members, because you also want to become familiar with especially the face-to-face. So you want to get coaching on how to look at one person, look at the middle, look at the room, that kind of thing. I've gone to contests, face-to-face contests, and Distinguished Toastmaster Karen mentioned that about being on time. When you walk into a room when the contest has already started, it can send off those nerves. So attend the meeting early, be familiar with the speaking space, get to know the room so that when you start speaking, you're very comfortable. We had a face-to-face contest, and there were two speaking areas. There was a platform and there was a lower area. So by attending the meeting early, you had a chance to ask where is the speaking area, right? Although it would have been discussed by the contest chair, but you want to be prepared and making sure that you arrive early. One of the things that I didn't hear Distinguished Toastmaster say, but I want to bring it out here, is that the contestant must be in the room when the contest chair is being announced. That's very, very important. Persons have been disqualified because after the contest chair is announced, that's the time they're coming in. So that's a criteria for disqualification. So again, for your speaker, the speaking format is similar to that of your regular speech. A grand opening, 3 main points, a grand close. You want to have also your body language. You want to make sure that all those come out, because these are some of the things that the judges are looking for. It will help, and it is perfectly okay for you to get a hold of the ballots before the contest, so you know exactly what the criteria the judges will be looking for. That's fine. Some clubs that I've visited have done demo contests and demo evaluation or judges voting, just so that persons are aware of the criteria. Remember, no electronic devices, especially when you're doing the evaluation contests. You'll be placed in a room and you have 5 minutes in which to do your evaluation. The evaluation is the same that you would do in your club, except that it is done under supervision. There's a timer and also a sergeant at arms there. And when the time is up, they tell you to put your pencil down, and then you will be escorted when the time is okay for you to deliver your speech or to deliver your evaluation. Table topics, pretty much the same as you would do in your club. Again, you want to make sure because it's a competition now, so you want to always bring your A game. It's very, very important that again we prepare. I visit contests quite a bit because I want to learn techniques, but I also pick up on some of the areas of opportunities in the contest. And one of the big ones that I've noticed is that when we throw a new member into the deep end, and they come in and they absolutely clueless. And then when you ask them, oh, my VP either asked me to enter. And it is perfectly fine because it's part of development, but I'm asking, begging VP Eds, prepare your members before throwing them into a contest. Because it is because it's a contest environment, it also can be a very stressful environment. And you want to make sure that your members are prepared because a contest can make or break them. Because sometimes I see some speeches and I'm wondering, why wouldn't the VP Ed have said to this person that this speech is not a contest quality speech, right? Another area that we want to look at, because Toastmasters International is a professional environment, again, VP Eds, I'm putting it out there for you. Remind your members when they're entering contests to dress professionally. It is, again, a professional environment, and many opportunities come up in Toastmasters. There could be an opportunity to get a new job. There could be an opportunity to get a contract. So you want to make sure that your contestants are dressed professionally. Because when they're up on stage and they're wearing a miniskirt, things can happen. They can be walking down and they may slip, heaven forbid. But it's very important that we do all the preparations for our contestants to make them more comfortable. DTM Karen, I think that exhausts my list.
Thank you so much, DTM Liz. And are there any questions, comments before I... Yes, AD Kevin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Toastmasters. So my question is taking back to the rules. I agree with you, QPD, about the part that you raised, the eligibility now, because I was in a position like that, wanted to be a contest chair. And when I checked the eligibility, because I am going up for a district position, it clearly outlined in the eligibility section who can take part in contests. So I agree. My question is, coming out from staging a area contest, these are the questions come to mind. And I'm asking for clarity on this to help me going forward. Regards to the starting of a contest, if a contest is about to start, or let me just say the contestants are not there, and the contest start, does it make the contestant ineligible, or can we allow them to take part still once they come within the in the purview of when starting the number didn't call as yet? That's one. The second question is, should the chief judge read out the rules at the contest, or is that, or when the briefing take place, she could do that at the briefing, but just probably said, well, the contestant was brief, right? And three, is it allowed that the chief judge could intervene in the contest while the contest chair is on the stage, or who has let me just say, the overall directive of the contest? Is it the contest chair that leads the way, and the chief judge just play a role just to explain the rules and with the judges and that kind of thing? And my last question is, in the area contest, I don't know if it could, but normally when judges are selected, should judges be proportionate to, let me just say we have persons from various clubs in the area taking part. Should there be a selection of proportion by the proportion clubs in the area, that they have a judge from each section, or is it okay to have 3 judges belonging to a particular club that has a contestant in the contest? What is there a balance in terms of it should be? That is my question.
Thank you, Area Director Kevin. You're going to have to assist me if I forget all of your questions.
No problem, no problem.
What was the first one?
The first one was the, I don't know, lost.
Okay,
Anyway.
I know one of them was, if the contestant is not there, whether if the contestant is not there when the contest is starting, and they come before their number is called, if they are yes,
allowed, yeah.
You see, most of the questions that you ask, the answers are very clearly laid out in the rule book. The rule book is our Bible where it comes on to contests. And by the way, a new version is issued every year. So don't think because you've been a contest chair or a chief judge or even a contestant from The Devil Was a Boy, you don't need to read the rule book. And Toastmasters is so nice to us that every change that they make, there's an asterisk. So they clearly point out what has been changed. But anyway, the rule says that the contest chair, if you are not present when the contest chair is introduced, you cannot compete. Now that raises the question, well, we have, and I've seen it, there are 3 contests. So contestant who is part of the 3rd contest feel like it's okay to come just before their contest. But as long as it's 1 or even 2 contest chairs and they're being introduced at the same time, that's the cutoff. So I hope that's clear.
Yes,
I'm going to jump to the one about the contestants, the judges and the area contest. And the rule book says, for an area contest, all areas should be evenly represented. So yes, and that's the important part, because the other part that says, it does say, okay, so for instance, it says 7 voting judges, and don't quote me on the number, I just picked up a number. And by the way, it must always be an uneven number. So if you are having judges from outside the area, that's not a problem. But once you are getting judges from inside, from the various areas, all areas must be represented. So that situation that you quoted, where you had 3 representatives from one area, that contest was not properly conducted.
No,
you're breaking up. I'm not getting.
Yeah. No, so I was just outlining a scenario.
Okay, right, fine. Well, I'm so relieved to know that. What was the other questions?
I'm sorry, DTM Corinne, we have
Yes.
like 9 minutes, and we have
Okay.
DTM Otto has
All right.
not been up for
All right.
30 minutes.
I will take lead
DTM
later.
DTM Otto, I'm going to take your question, and then there are some things that I must deal with before we take any more questions. There are questions that are coming outside and people are concerned. So give me
No
your
problem.
question and then we
I'll
will
be
deal with it.
fast. Good afternoon. So quickly, the first one is, let's say a candidate, someone who has put themselves up for a district post, happens to perform a role at a contest. What's the next step? One, are we allowed to record online contests? Two, and is there stipulated time for us to inform contestants when a contest would be? So for example, you were qualified at the club level. Does it matter when we tell them when the area contest will be? Those are my 3 questions. Thanks.
I would say it matters. And if you notice, when we publish the deadlines, each for the various levels of contests, each of them had spaces. The dates of the district contests have been announced quite some time, because once you know your deadline, you don't have to wait for clubs to finish their area contests, for areas to finish their area contests before the area or the division appoint their dates. You don't have to do that. If you're organized and planning, and we should be planning ahead of time, then you should be announcing it, so that what would be nice is at the club contest, you can announce when it's the next level, and so on and so forth. So certainly I wouldn't expect that a contestant is going to hear today that tomorrow is the area contest. It ought not to happen. Dee Dee, you have your hand raised?
Yes, I just wanted to comment on the question with candidates part, and to know that
Oh yes, I knew
whether
that left. So yes.
whether it be for contest or any general candidate related violations or issues, those must be submitted to the DLC chairs. The chair and the committee will review, and they will use that as part of their process. A simple example could be that they add it in their report and they share that report just before the elections process starts. So any violations should be directed to the chairs for the different committees, and then they will make their decision in the process.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Now, I gather that there's some uncertainty about division contests and when the district contests are. This was in August. I sent an email after the DEC decided what contest we would have. An email was sent indicating to all of the DEC members, and we expected that it would have filtered down, that divisions who have one territory would have their contests, their division contests in their home territory by a particular date, which was April, and that the divisions, the 6 divisions who have more than one country will have their division contest in Jamaica on May 13, at the beginning of the conference. And the rationale for this is that since it has to be face-to-face, and we do not want contestants to have to travel twice at possibly great cost, certainly inconvenience. Just as we did last year, we've decided that that was the most equitable. We know it's not a perfect solution because it's going to cost money, but as things are, that seem to be the most practical. At this point, based on current information that I have, divisions A, C, E, and J will have their contests as stated in Jamaica on Wednesday, May 13. Contests will be concurrent, so we'll have 2 and then 2. And we are working out and we'll advise what are the times for the particular contests. We've been advised that Division G won't be having a contest, and Division I, although they have more than one territory, because of the proximity, it is allowed where the proximity and where the contestant is coming from. That one is going to be in St. Martin, and then the winners will come. For the district contests, oh, by the way, those are just the face-to-face. It is, of course, expected that the online speech contests would be held prior to that time. And there should not be any problem with that. I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yes, we can, DTM Corin.
Wonderful. So for anyone who hasn't seen the notice, and I'll share it again in all of the WhatsApp groups after this meeting, the online speech contest is scheduled for Sunday, May 3, time to be announced. And that will be by Zoom. For the other contests, they will be held in Jamaica at the conference. The evaluation contest will be on Thursday, the 14th of May. The table topics contest on Friday, the 15th of May, and the international speech contest on Saturday, the 16th of May. And all of those, we will announce the times, but of course, they will be in Jamaica and you will hear more. Divisions have been asked to submit. So that means Division B, Division D, and Division F must complete their contests by the end of March and submit their notification of contest winner. Please remember that is the required form. So even if you send the name in a WhatsApp or whatever, we would like the form. Let's get into the habit of using the prescribed forms. The deadline for submitting the winners is April 5 for those divisions. And also we expect to have the results of the online speech contests at that time too, so that all contestants can be properly notified during the course of April. Now, for the divisions that are having their contests in Jamaica, you will, of course, realize that the possibility exists that the contest will be the following day. We have asked the divisions to let us know which clubs are representing their areas in each contest to assist us with finding judges because we cannot take them from the clubs. So at least we'll know which clubs to eliminate. And it will also help us to have an idea if we have to give the contestants some prior information so that when their contest is finished on Wednesday, the winners will be a little bit more prepared. I think that's the best we can do. And it's exactly 12 o'clock. I'm hoping that we have no further questions so that we can adjourn. You can always send me your questions, your concerns, your queries, and of course, your area directors, your division directors are also points of contact. AD Kevin.
Madam QPD, I only asked him here, and a digression here. Regards to the conference, the speakers was chosen already?
You mean the education sessions?
Yes, the educational session.
That is far advanced, but that is not the forum for this.
I know, that was a digress. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, you will hear soon. You'll soon get a conference at a glance, and we will also have in March another update, and you'll get that. Maybe by the end of the week, we'll post the information. No, not the end of this week. The week is nearly finished. Close in the coming week, we will send you a flyer indicating when is the next session so that you can come and ask all of your questions. But yes, most of the speakers are confirmed and it's going to be good. So with that, if there are no other comments, concerns, and questions, let us keep to time and close this session. I just ask our district director if there's anything that she feels that we should cover before we leave.
All good from my end, MPQ.
Thank you so much, Dee Dee. So with that, thank you all for taking the time out to join us for another Lunch and Learn session. We have been recording. We will share the recording hopefully by the end of the week. Today's Wednesday. I think that we'll be able to share it by Friday so that you can always go back over it. And as I say, I think everybody knows where to find me. So have a great, great afternoon.
Okay, bye everyone. Enjoy
Bye
your lunch.
all.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye, everybody.